Hi, this is Rick. I'm here to talk about the Alec Baldwin affair, the Alec Baldwin disaster. Okay, this is a single action, uh, but it's a 22 Magnum. The single action pistol that he used in the movie Rust was a single action Colt 45 long Colt. He claims he didn't pull a trigger. Well, that was impossible, and I'm going to show you. We're first going to render this pistol safe. For the lurky-loos out there, it's empty. Okay, YouTube, this is Rick, Black Rifle, back at you, talking about the Alec Baldwin disaster on the movie Rust. Here's a single action pistol. He said he didn't pull a trigger. Okay, cock the hammer back. You have to pull the trigger to make the gun fire. This has a safety on it right here that was added by this company that produced this pistol. It's nothing more than a hammer block, so you got a somewhat of a safety on a single action, because single actions don't have a real safety on them. You have a half cock position, and there's no way that gun could fire from the half cock position. So if he pulled the hammer back, if he pulled the hammer back and had his hand on a trigger, maybe that's what happened. See? But if you pull the hammer back, you have to pull a trigger. Alec Baldwin is full of shit, and karma has bit him in the ass, and I think Alec Baldwin should be charged with criminal negligent homicide, because it was his duty to check the weapon. Now that would have been easy by opening the gate here, half cock the weapon, and rotate the cylinder, looking in each cylinder. But he could have dumped all the cylinders out, you know, one at a time, like this, using the cylinder extractor, and got all the bullets out and inspected them to make sure one of those live rounds that he was shooting in that gun earlier on the set was not in the weapon. They were target practicing. That's why the live rounds were there, and that's why the live rounds were left in the gun. One was left in the gun. It could have been more, for all we know. It could have been all 6 of them were live rounds. But anyway, it was Alec Baldwin's duty as the person. He says he didn't shoot that woman. He did. He pointed the gun. He cocked the gun. And he fired the gun. So therefore, he's responsible for what came out of the gun. No way around it, folks. Alec Baldwin is guilty of negligent homicide. He may not have meant to kill that woman, but the fact remains, she's dead, and it was at his hand. So the blood's on his hand. Alec Baldwin is making up excuses typical of a Democrat, always lying or making light of or making an excuse as to why the weapon went off. But he got on there with rat-faced Stephanopoulos and was crying to the public that, well, I didn't have my hand on the trigger. You can't, the gun can't go off unless you pull a trigger. Therefore, just like that. Okay? That's what Alec Baldwin did. He shot the woman. He killed the woman. He's guilty of negligent homicide at the least. And he should be charged criminally for the crime. Okay? If it was me or you, the general public, they'd crucify us. The prosecutor would get a hold of that and they'd have us in prison for negligent homicide. We'd be gone. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They were using a real weapon, not a prop. It was a reproduction weapon. Just like this one is a reproduction of a Colt firearm. Okay? It's a single action Western style pistol. And it could have been easily checked. It could have been checked this way. You open the gate, you push in here on the cylinder, there's a pin for and you pop the cylinder out of the weapon. It's like that. He could have rendered it inoperable right there. He could have checked the weapon. Somebody gives me a weapon, the first thing I do is I put it on safe if there's a safety, and then you know, I inspect the weapon to make sure I haven't been given a loaded weapon. It's always it wasn't loaded. That's always the excuse of an accidental firearm. I didn't know it was loaded. Oh man! All weapons should be treated as they're loaded. Alec Baldwin is guilty of negligent homicide, at the least. He's criminally liable. So, therefore, Alec Baldwin should be charged before a jury of his peers and let them decide whether he's guilty or not. A jury of 12. And Alec Baldwin and you rat-faced Stephanopoulos, let's go Joe Biden. Let's go Brandon. Yeah. You're an asshole. Both of you assholes. Frickin' Democrats. One more thing. If you Democrats would stop shooting people, the national gun crimes would drop by 99%. That's a fact. Okay? Who's shooting who in the inner cities? Okay? It's not the white man out there shooting black men. It's blacks shooting blacks. And the truth needs to be told. I'm sick of this systemic racism.